Here we are talking with Michael Lovan about his latest award-winning project, Murder, Bury, Win. It's the story of a few friends who just want to make a board game, except some amusingly bloody complications get in their way. Murder, Bury, Win comes out on demand Tuesday, April 27th. Michael, hi there, and how's your day so far?
My day is wonderful. I'm really delighted to speak with you. You were the very first person that ever reviewed Murder, Bury, Win, and favorably at that. So I am delighted to end my little, I guess, press circuit with you, like tying a ribbon around this whole experience. It's a delight to meet you at last.
Yeah, you as well. Again, it feels like a nice bookend. I don't remember what month it was. I feel like it was September or something. That whole year kind of blends together.
October, October, yeah.
October, okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was such a nice surprise watching it. Again, even in that first like 90 seconds to 2-minute period, it was like, hey, this is going to be a fun movie. And it turned out to be exactly that. And frankly, while I could get into all the specific ways that Murder, Bury, Win is worthwhile, I am kind of a Frank Costanza nut about spoilers and everything, and I don't like giving things away because it's fun going in fresh, so I'm going to try and be as vague as possible, but you're the director, so spill as many beans as you feel comfortable spilling.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
Yeah. So aside from a supporting character who briefly mentions, like, his ex-wife, nobody really mentions their preferences or sexual orientation or anything like that, which was a nice surprise for me as a gay guy who's seen a million movies that had a case of the not gays.
Mm-hmm.
So was that on purpose, or was that just a happy accident?
It was on purpose. So I knew, when I was rewriting the script, first draft, I wasn't certain if these would be, men or women. I was just thinking in terms of archetypes and, assigning a cluster of characteristics to each character. But as I developed and rewrote the screenplay and knew that they would be men, and knew that I was going to be exploring, in some aspect, masculinity and the cluster that goes under that, I realized a lot of art that explores masculinity likes to focus on, the bravado, the machismo, the sexist angle, and there's so much more under the cluster of masculinity that is, I think, inherently toxic, and I'm not interested in putting in language that's either demeaning to women or specifically makes each of these guys heteronormative. I don't think that that's what my story is about. So I honed in on other aspects, hoping that in keeping it vague, as to their sexual preferences, anyone in the audience could map their own perspectives onto them. I think it makes them more relatable in a sense because you don't have each of them having very specific call-outs to their sexual preferences, in my opinion.
No, I mean, I certainly noticed it as a guy who, like I said before, just notices that in movie after movie where I'm like, I'm not sure why it was important to know that they liked her ass or whatever. I'm like, but I guess it was.
It might be, it might be some writers trying to compensate for something, or it's standard. It's so normative in storytelling to just establish, and this is who they love, and what does it say about them? Well, it says that they're going to be inaccessible to a lot of the audience. So I'm glad that worked.
With lots of movies, I think you're probably so used to that idea of, you have the main man and the main lady, and they'll make, googly eyes at each other throughout, and then they kiss.
Yeah.
And this is somehow like what's expected from every movie. And you're like, you don't have to.
Yeah.
So it was a nice surprise that you didn't in yours. I was curious. So if you had your way, what kind of special features would you include on a Blu-ray?
So if I had some special features, and there are special features out there that exist that I will be releasing outside of a Blu-ray, by the way, at some point, probably on the website or something. I'd love to share some of the incredible work of the actors that you don't see in the final edit of the film. One thing we did on set was what I called, the fuck it take, and in the fuck it take. Sorry, screw it take. You can beat me out if I'm not allowed to say
How dare you?
Okay, the fucking sake. Wherein once they got their line and I feel like I had it for the edit, I would tell the actors, okay, well, I'm going to give you another moment. Do that scene again, but it's a fucking take. You do whatever you want. Don't worry about, hitting your mark exactly, or my director of photography getting upset that you're, stepping out of the light. Just do something that's just unhinged, or as small as you want to make it, or as wide as you want to make it. And a lot of those fucking takes made it into the actual cut of the film. I found that, untethering the performers from the idea of having to, operate at a standard human level and letting them just go wild, it yielded some really interesting performances that you actually see within the edit of the film. But there's so much more I'd love to share. And that's the first thing I'd share, because these guys were all firing on all cylinders the entire time we were shooting the film.
That's one of the bummers about like the death of physical media, I guess, is that I was like, oh, I miss buying these things, and then you'd have,
Yeah. So there is a Blu-ray though. A Blu-ray is being released same day, April 27th, but it is, to my understanding, bare bones, unfortunately. I do have a commentary track as well that I don't think made the cut, but I will also be releasing that. And that is as inside baseball as you... I don't like the term. Well, it's inside baseball as you can get. Was there another term for film? Like, it's as behind the scenes.
Yeah, I would guess say like behind the scenes.
Wow, that's such a basic thing I should know. I don't know. I'm green to this. Sue me.
Yeah, me too. So
yeah.
We'll both be called out for all our newbie faults.
That's fine. No one better gatekeep us out of this community. Let the noobs in.
That segues pretty well, I guess. My next question was, how difficult was it finding like these main three cast of people who all just kind of coalesced into best friends immediately and brought this very dialogue-heavy, film to life? Right.
So, like What's great about these actors who didn't know each other before we started filming is that they clicked the very first time I got them together in a room for the cast reading, the first table reading, and basically Eric, who plays Adem, he is someone who I've known for half my life. He was the very first friend I made at UCLA when we went to the School of Theater together. Henry, who plays Barrett, is a backstage audition. It's one of those auditions that when I saw it, I was like, oh man, I can't see this character any other way. It's got to be him, because I moved on to other auditions, and it's like, but they're not doing what he was doing. Offered him the role, and as for Michael, he was a recommendation from a casting agent friend from UCLA, and I listed off the very specific list of requirements. It was like very lengthy, and she came back with just one. She's like, it's got to be him, and she was right. And I like to think that smarter directors hire smart people, and I hired the smartest crew. And the smartest cast, because everyone knew what they were doing and more. These three guys were working so well together, not just in front of the camera, but behind the camera, running lines, playing games, getting into the spirit of the film. So it was like really no work at all for me to get them where I needed to get them, shot to shot, scene by scene.
Sounds like you got spoiled now for your future projects.
Oh, yeah, I'll just recast everyone. It's just why play in another sandbox when I could just reuse everyone every film?
You have an acting troupe. You just bring them with you.
I like that. Coming from theater, like theater troops existed for a reason. There's a reason you travel around on a wagon using the same people. It's because recasting any of these people, like you're probably going to get a numbskull once in a while, and you don't want to deal with a numbskull or a bozo.
So when you're writing such a dialogue-heavy movie, do you say these things out loud as you're writing them, or when other people say them, is that the first time you hear it?
I'm kind of mouthing stuff along, and I'm trying to find a rhythm that works for me, because I tend to write very dialogue-heavy materials that are contingent, like their working is contingent on finding a stride in the rhythm. Like a lot of puns are hilarious if you hit them in the right order. And so you know, I'll kind of read them out loud, but then, you know, with every draft, my wife and I would read the entire script out loud together, and I would just, as I'm reading, go like, nope, that one sucks, or like, okay, I need to add another word here, until we kind of get that, you know, like it's not like Shakespeare and considering, you know, like okay, iambic pentameter, or I need to hit this number of syllables. There's just a certain cadence to the way I write, and it needs to be specific or it will not land. So it does need to be spoken out loud as I'm developing it, and then when I'm, you know, working with the actors, making sure they understand, like, this line works if you get at it this way because it sets up the next 3 lines, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I definitely, you know, I recall watching the movie twice now, just the second time the other day just to prepare. And it does really flow so well, like from scene to scene there. And again, it's just surprising after watching a million movies. Just in my life before, I used to do this, you know, for a website. And after I started doing it for a website, or again, I'm not the kind of person who sits there and just says, I loved your movie.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad.
You're welcome. So now I'll just, you know, move on before I keep going with that.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Aside from amusingly age-inappropriate bit part of yours in Murderberry Win, you also acted previously in a film called The Reunion, which you with a bunch of people, including your partner Avery. But that one was as more of a lead. What other kinds of projects might tempt you to be more of a lead, or put on your actor hat, I guess?
So, so actually, one quick clarification. A Reunion I co-wrote with my best friend and his partner.
Oh, okay.
Hernando, who was... yeah, there's a lot of liars out there. Hernando Bensuelo, who was my roommate and my best friend from college, he and his husband wanted to make a road trip romantic drama starring he and myself, and so we went on that venture together. But as for your question, you know, what type of film would it take to, you know, make me dust off my old, you know, acting chops and hop in front of a camera? That's the question, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, not that I'm an actor by trade. I definitely am not. I'm not trained in that way at all. But I would. I think, you know, if there's ever an opportunity to act in a film that allows me to you know, challenge things that a lot of people hold tantamount, or a lot of things, a lot of tenets of character that people hold as you know, religion. I'd be down for that. You know, I'm really down on anything that reinforces concepts of masculinity. Like I just, when people say the term toxic masculinity, I'm like, that implies that there's a masculinity that's not toxic. Are you sure there is any masculinity that's not toxic? So I'm like, if I have an opportunity to act in a role that allows me to, you know, sink my teeth into that concept and make people like think critically about what we're saying when we infer that masculinity is not toxic, that's the one I'd hop into. Something that would make a lot of people angry, I think.
So no goofy best friends or anything?
If the goofy best friend is like pumping iron or is, you know, obsessed with the idea of being a prototypical male or an alpha, who's room for that? Yeah, then absolutely. I'll be that best friend.
Also, I'm also curious, I guess maybe IMDb was a liar about this one too, but it says that you have some puppet experience. So if you made a puppet film, what do you think your preferred genre or maybe like a style might be? Yeah,
so I have a master's with a focus in puppetry, which makes me a puppet master, technically. I know how to read about puppets and talk about them, but moving them around, I don't know about that. So I'm really obsessed with the two primary types of puppetry. One is kind of Indonesian shadow puppetry, like wayang golek. It's like it's just very magical, the idea of just like put up a light, a screen, and put up just like, you know, a buffalo hide, a puppet, and manipulate it, and you can captivate an entire village depending on, you know, how big your screen and lights are. I've always thought that that would be a very interesting thing to approach cinematically, and I outside of, you know, a scene in, you know, Harry Potter 6 or 7 or 8, I forget which one it is. I haven't really seen it used.
Was it the Deathly Hallows story thing?
It was when they're doing a flashback, and it's shadow puppet-like. I think you really can't go wrong with just a basic animatronic puppet a la Chucky, which is like the coolest, most badass. I mean, he's a puppet, but he's not, but he is. And I'd love to, you know, play in that world, because I think that there's so much more potential beyond murdering dolls, and, you know, the terrifying and amazing, you know, animatronics that the Dark Crystal provides. I think that there's a lot of storytelling left. Well, that's not animatronic though. That's like actual puppets. I just want to play with all puppets, dude. I love puppets.
Mix and match.
Mix and match. There you go.
Since versus things seem to be popular, I think maybe you could do like a Chucky versus Leprechaun, right? They're both pretty much the same height.
Oh my god. That's probably been like, I'm sure it's been pitched like a million times on Twitter by now, but like if I had an opportunity to play in the sandbox with both Leprechaun, who's like secretly my hero, with a gross thing to say, and Chucky, that'd be like a dream come true of a project.
There you go. So I'm sure we all got kind of spoiled with this pants-optional webcam press world and everything.
Yeah.
But do you think that this is maybe just kind of normalized to the point where it's acceptable for a lot of things?
I think that if anything, you know, the last year has been really, really good business for the pajama industry and the boxer industry. I myself may or may not be wearing pajama bottoms. Who knows? But I think actually, just like to that point, another big thing happened this last year, which is that, you know, the entire way we consume media has been shifted, right? The paradigm has moved over to where we now have film festivals that are virtual, and that's commonplace. Wherein any other time, you know, the audience you see is the audience you get. So you get someone that likes Forrest Gump and someone that likes Hellraiser, and then you put them in to watch, you know, the latest musical, and it's like, well, let's see how this works on them. But with a film festival experience being virtual, you could really like tailor your audience to, you know, people that actually want to see your film. So I think that we're seeing a huge shift in the way film festivals are run, as well as, you know, the theatrical model. I can't see that going back exactly to the way it was.
No, I mean, that seems like it will certainly benefit kind of indie films and indie filmmakers to some point, that it's not just this huge, all right, your movie comes out in theaters and it either sinks or swims, and that's that.
Yeah.
Now it's, you know, it comes out in theaters and it's online, and there are all kinds of ways to measure success. It's not just, well, you came in 9th place, nobody cared, good luck.
I mean, I agree. I agree with you. I think that the barrier of entry now is really like getting word of mouth and marketing dollars behind a film. And like if my film is dropping the same day as a film backed by a major studio, but there's more word of mouth compared to, you know, more budget, I think word of mouth typically wins the day. It always does. That's what makes films classics. That's what makes films cult classics. So I do like the shift. And it can theoretically, I think, be really good for indie film, so long as the paradigm doesn't shift again in favor of only studio, you know, mandated successes. They are still in charge, though, to be clear, and you know, there's no way indie films can usurp them in terms of, you know, marketing gain and whatever. But I think we have more of a leg to stand on now.
You're not going to have like 9 focus groups for, you know, your next film before.
Oh my God, the death of the artist right there. Jesus Christ! Like I can't handle that. The idea of running a film through that kind of that kind of gauntlet. Like just let artists express what they want to express, and if you don't like the film, don't buy it, don't license it. I understand those are studio projects that are spent by marketing dollars. I get it, but that ecosystem is so different from, like, you know, the ecosystem of, you know, indie filmmakers making things, putting their entire life savings into pieces of work they truly believe in. It's very, very interesting paths you can take.
I know, and that's kind of what the whole point of Horror Buzz is, which is a nice dovetail. Because it was like, look, you know, these are indie horror movies, which, as you just said, lots of people, they let their savings. It's like, all right, I mortgaged my house, I got a second mortgage. I used to live in Southern California, and I never had a mortgage while I lived there, but I heard all kinds of stories of people who went down that road, and some of them, you know, they succeeded, and some of them not. So it's always nice when there's success, and it certainly seems like you've achieved some success here.
I like to think so. I like to think that the success of Murderberry Win is you know, right in tandem with Horror Buzz. We're very indie, and it's a hard road going down that path, but it's worth it because you have something that's yours, and you make something that you really believe in, supporting things that, and making, you know, art and art criticism that focuses on, you know, the smaller people.
I remember the days when, you know, movie scores used to be released on CDs and stuff like that. And this is one that I certainly would have bought. I'll say it felt like another character in the room with everybody. So it was a nice impulsive element to this dialogue-heavy movie as well. So there's another thing with the Blu-ray.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Oh man, physical media. Those days are we're coming up on the end. The end times are nigh.
All right. Well, I guess that's pretty much it, unless you have anything else you'd like to say.
Well, I just like to say, like, I really like talking to you. It's great to meet you, and I'm a fan of Horror Buzz, and it was an honor to come right out of our world premiere and looked online, and literally within minutes of our having the world premiere with CineQuest, your review was online. It was like, man, I didn't have to wait at all for some kind of, because you don't know how people are going to respond to a film, right, when it lives on your computer for so long. And so I'm like, I don't know what people think of this. And that was like the first time I heard like an outside, you know, opinion from someone completely removed, because I don't do focus groups, and it was very delightful. So thank you so much for standing by the film and believing in it.
Yeah, you're quite welcome. Again, I've been told that I'm like an anal stickler and all kinds of stuff, but we had some kind of embargo, and it was like the embargo was done at, you know, like 6:52 p.m. or whatever, and I was like, okay, so schedule it for 6:53 or whatever. I was like, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
So again, thank you so much, and it has been such a pleasure talking with you. This is Adam here at Horror Buzz. Murderberry Win releases this Tuesday, April 27th, video on demand. Thank you so much, Michael Lovan.
Thank you so much, Adam.
You're welcome.